Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? That's not what I want. I might also mention that um, my other technical problem is uh, raising its head today. I don't have the camera functioning on my computer. It it ran
Right.
it randomly stops, says everything is fine, driver's the correct one. Uh, Reinstall the driver, doesn't make any difference. Um,
Mm,
and then all of a sudden it's back. So
mm,
my only conclusion is it's related to Microsoft updates. Um,
mm.
but it may not be. Anyway,
Right. Well, the view I'm looking at is a much wider view, and maybe that will help Bill because he can see himself the whole time too.
and there he is.
And there it is. Yeah, but because it doesn't matter to me as far as my view. Like, this is fine with me. It's,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just I often am not speaking as directly to you as I
right.
would if I had that camera. Anyway,
Okay.
so how's opening and closing the shoulders?
Definitely needs more work.
Um, what does that mean? Yeah, we always need more work. That
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I wouldn't mind a very brief recap of it again, since we didn't get to see the last week's last class. Just if you can give us like a minute or two of a recap of that concept, because I didn't really, when I did get to practice in the 2 weeks, I didn't really get to listen to it again. So I
Mhm.
don't know how much of what I should be doing I may have lost in that period. So that may be contributing to me not feeling like I made progress with it.
Mhm. Okay.
I've done more in my mind with the ribs.
Ah,
Uh, the shoulders have been there fairly consistently. I mean, in my attention.
good.
I've had, since we had class, I've had a couple of stretches of really good practices, and then usually travel and snow removal get, tire me out or whatever, and
Yeah.
I don't practice as well or as much, so it's been inconsistent.
Yeah. So with the shoulder, we have two things. We have the shoulder energy gate, which is really focused at the shoulders notch. Um, and the the really important one is the shoulder cavity, which is located in the center of the armpit. And while they are close, they are not the same. Um, and while we talk about them together, um, because they are so close, and when you have the shoulder and elbow movement and internal awareness, um, at first it can be very difficult to distinguish one from the other. So sometimes it really helps to concentrate your practice on first just on one and then on the other, and then eventually to being aware of both at the same time. Not easy. Well, in the training I have done on this, the shoulder was the place we started with. When the cavities appear, it's not easy, but it is extremely important because the armpit cavity connects to the internal organs, and so that directly, so that becomes really an important element. So that's kind of it briefly. Did that raise any questions for you, Jeff?
I remember the part about the armpit cavity. I wasn't as clear about this spot right in the shoulder cavity in front. What that
It's an
function
energy
is.
gate.
It's a gate.
They
Okay.
are two different things,
Right.
but connected and always working together.
Okay. The other thing, a couple of times I tried to do some focusing on the ribs expanding, and while I have a little bit of success feeling something there, I cannot differentiate vertical versus the horizontal expansions at all. Is there any, I mean, how does one start to feel that difference?
Practice.
Okay.
What that says to me is that you have not effectively developed your longevity breathing to begin with,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
because if you are fully breathing into your ribs, you will have already established the vertical movement there.
Hmm.
And then if you have that, it becomes a little easier to be aware of the horizontal movement from the scapula. I mean, from the sternum.
Right.
Um, the other part of this is that if you have done fully done energy gates and heaven and earth, you'll have them.
Hmm.
You will have already done that. So I'm at this point, we're kind of reintroducing things that in the normal stages of development we would have done.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I know you did some of that, but I don't know.
That would have been in the past that I did
Yeah,
that kind of work. Been quite a while.
yeah. And
Okay.
so
Well, maybe I should do more longevity breaths,
I would
improve on that.
I think that's important to do,
Yeah.
because when we look at that breath, we start by breathing into the dantian. We develop the three levels of the sides, and then ideally there is a stage of breathing into the sacrum and the perineum, and then the kidneys, and then the upper back into the heart and lungs, and
Hmm.
eventually into the brain. And having done that fully, really makes it much easier to experience opening and closing.
Hmm. Okay.
So, and if you remember that the very first of the 16 Neigong is breathing. It's the most single Well, I shouldn't say it's the most important element, but it's one of them, and it is a precursor for many other parts of the practice.
Hmm.
So, yes, maybe going back and really focusing on breathing, because breathing practice is something you can do anytime, anywhere.
Right.
So even if you don't have a lot of time to do a focused long-term practice, you can take 2 or 3 minutes when you're just whatever
Right.
and practice some of your breathing.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Did that help you or arouse anything for you?
Yeah, well, the armpit has been there from the very start in terms of our attention.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's easier for me to get to than the shoulders and nest.
Mhm.
But I will say that thinking about the ribs and trying to get that seems to have involved the shoulders and nest,
It does. Yeah,
more, So I,
absolutely.
certainly at the beginning stages of anything, but
Yeah, that's good. Good awareness. So I'd like you to do the 8 gates and um, focus on the shoulders and ribs.
Hmm.
Right? Try to feel something there as you.
I was gonna say, the armpits had always led to the scapula,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
What we have to be aware of is not allowing that attention to prevent becoming fully aware of the shoulders, because
Yeah.
the shoulders are on the way.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And not that you need this reminder, but remember that it really important element in all of this is what's happening with the elbows. Because if you freeze the elbows, you freeze the shoulders. Good. So that's certainly coming. Um, there is there's a real feeling of internal awareness now as you're doing this, which is not so focused on the external movement, which is really positive. And you're all every movement you are really pretty clear about where you're going or where you intend to go. Um, well, two things I would say to at some point maybe look at yourself in a mirror, which I don't often suggest because that takes your attention away from inside you. But it can be very helpful if there's some particular element that you need to work on that somehow you have not been able to connect internally. And the first one, I guess I would say it's the really important is that every movement that is moving along the side channel, so from the shoulder's nest to the qua, needs to move along that channel, not drift into the center and out, because that reduces the effectiveness of the movement. So one of the things here is that we are not so much focused on center to periphery, but in the movement from above your head to below your feet. And that goes through the side channels. Once you begin to focus on working with the center channel, that is another element that's added to being able to go all the way from above your head to below your feet. So really being careful. I mean, clearly every posture is not as clearly on the side channel as you might think. One of the things to remember is that all our energy is functioning out from our physical body through 7 more energy bodies that expand out from the body and into the middle of the body. And that even a movement that goes out is focused on in this case, on that movement through the side channel, but the side channel in the etheric body at this point, I would think, for the most part. So keeping that constant awareness that that's where you're moving is up and down through the side channel, which of course goes through the legs and arms and head as well. The other thing I would say is to really look at the transitions from one posture to the other in particular, and make sure that you have rounded that corner. Ideally, no transition goes, since we're most of the time doing pulsing, no transition goes boom, boom. That one still seems to not be absolutely clear because it's different in a way than the others, in that you have to add that little circle so that you get the roundness in that transition. And it needs to be present in every transition, whether it's in the 8 gates or the form. And that gets difficult. I was thinking today about the fact that we wanted to work um, on beyond wave hands, and particularly in terms of open and close in the form, and that when you do the kick, there is a real tendency to go boom, boom. And that needs to not be exactly what happens in those places. There needs to be some roundness to it. As I've said before, I still hear ringing in my ears, round your corners, which he would do. I particularly remember it when I was learning the Yang Wong form from Master Joe. And we would be in the middle of a flow and he would say it a couple of times.
Right.
So it is an important element. So there's a lot to this. Even this.
No, it's interesting, even after all this time. I mean, I still often, because you do continue to remind us, I do often remind myself to round the corners. Of all the times I've done our form, I never once stopped to think on the kick that you just referenced that I need to round that. I just kicked out, kicked back in with my hands. And, so even as much as we've done it, there's still times when it just doesn't click.
Yeah.
That also has to be rounded because that's a posture.
But one of the things about that is that rounding isn't necessarily turning. Rounding can be twisting. So,
well, I do incorporate a little bit of twisting in there, but it's not with the intent of rounding. It's just a habit.
Yeah.
Now I have more intent in what I want to do there, and I may put a little bit more of a twist into it as
Yeah.
a roundness aspect. So I guess my underlying point is I never get tired of you hearing us, or of hearing you remind us to round.
Yeah. It does seem to be one of those things that we need to be reminded.
Just like the elbows too, when we went into the 8 gates just now, I was thinking of all the other things I wanted to try and think about, and I kind of forgot the elbows until you mentioned them. So
Yep.
that's another one of those that is good to hear over and over.
Yeah, it's until it's just ingrained and automatic,
Right.
just part of what you do.
Yeah.
But as in another talk I was doing in another class recently, I was saying it may take you several years to accomplish the particular thing I was talking about. And it's true of so much of what we do. It's not
Right.
We rarely have I've got it, bam.
Right.
So Bill is returning.
Okay. Well, it will be good as we focus now on the later part of our form to revisit some of the rounding and some of those postures too.
Yeah.
For sure.
So but unfortunately I have to say this is not one of my best movement days, but I will do my best. First, it's really interesting when you get to this age how you have good days and days that aren't quite so good. And you just kind of learn to flow.
Yeah,
So
well, what you do is remarkable at your age, David. So when you have off days, it's no worries whatsoever.
I'm not worried.
Good.
Me worry? So just to to set it up, what I'd like you to do is just to flow up through wave hands,
Mhm.
um, including the single whip afterwards, and then just pause, and
Okay.
we'll look at it from there. Some nice improvement in there, Bill. I particularly noticed um, better shifting to 100% when you needed to. That you seem much more stable.
It's, you know, it's it's frustrating, but it's a coming awareness of the whole body. And
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah.
I think that that's all connected,
Yes,
So,
it
obviously
is.
it's connected, but
Yeah.
it hadn't been, I was so focused on arm movements and,
Hmm.
you know, arriving at the right static posture.
Mhm.
um, that I, that there wasn't enough attention to, weight shifting, and feeling the whole body moving through the thing.
Yeah,
And it's less segmented, I think.
Yeah.
One.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not
what
that there's nothing to do, but
the one place that seemed like you weren't clear is pull down and embrace. So we complete single whip. We have a turn and touch and step back and rotate onto the right foot, turn on the left heel, shift back, expanding into embrace, and then into shoulder.
okay.
Does it do?
Yeah, it's from pull down through the coming in, that sequence
Yeah,
has always been muddy.
it's a little difficult because it's not quite as the usual movement we do.
Yeah. I think it's the point from, there's no trouble going from this to the expansion, but from pull down to the turning,
Yeah.
what,
So
and when you just demonstrated, I was seeing something I don't do. So.
there was something in there, yeah. So but when you step back, you have come in and now you're going out. So opening, when we talk about opening and closing, and then you're closing as you rotate so that you have some place to expand and twist out into embrace. And then you're twisting and closing in and stepping and then rotating and opening the shoulder and then closing and twisting in and then opening and going out.
I think the one really noticeable thing is if I'm pulled down, I have just been going down with both hands equally and then turning them. And then there hasn't been any of the outward.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And recognizing that this movement it has an arc to it.
Yeah, that's what's missing. It's going from here.
Yeah. So it has to come down and to here, and then this just turns and then out. That
I think I understand. Yeah.
Jeff, we got kind of focused on Bill here. So did you have any questions up to there?
Um, I'll say no. I had one little one that hit me when I was doing it, but I can't remember where it was now. If I remember, I'll ask it.
Okay. Okay.
But that was good to see that again as well. And I was watching just your whole expansion of the rib area and everything else while you were doing Embrace.
Yeah.
Very interesting to think about that and trying to incorporate that more when I do it.
Good. Okay. So we've done wave hands and come into single whip. Let me get back here. Oh. So then we go into lift hand. So we're again rotating and twisting in and closing and drawing that foot in and step empty. And we have to remember that you have both step. So the difficulty there for us is that we tend to, in that first touch, we tend to have shifted the weight so that we're not able to make that additional turn. And we have to save the rest of the rotation to the right to open into the posture. So it's what seems like a relatively simple move, relatively, is not so much so. So we're rotating and twisting in and out. And then we're going into high pat. And we have to be careful that we don't just turn. We've got to have a rounding of that corner as we twist in and then, oh, come on, baby, do the posture correctly. Always a help. Everybody all right with that one? That one's fairly easy.
Yeah, I did notice one thing that from here, I have been going back to round.
No,
And,
you don't need to.
okay,
So actually, when we were here, this just continued, but if you watch my Dantian from here, there is a slight forward movement. So the rounding is like this, okay, which allows you, you've gone out, and this allows you to come in, and out as you complete that rotation. Because you've shifted onto the right foot, so you're pivoting on the left toe. Yes?
yeah,
I don't know if I got that, David. So you're saying from lift hand, the first thing we do is shift forward?
Very subtly.
Are we rotating at the same time, rotating left?
Uh-huh. So I'm gonna come here where maybe you can see this a little better. If
Yeah,
we've
that's a good view. Yep.
gone into, yeah, I was doing the wrong hand, wasn't I? Oh, well. Yeah, from here, once you've gotten into lift hand, there's just that slightest forward movement. You go forward a little, and then you're coming back so that you can bring that right toe in, and the right hand is beginning to rise in the left sink, but they're still twisting in. And then as you come onto the right and rise, you're opening and the arms spread and twist out.
Okay, so from left hand, it starts with a slight shift forward, but we are also rotating left the entire time. And then from that slight shift forward, we then go back to shifting backwards as we continue to rotate.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't have that forward shift in mind at all.
yeah. Well, again, it's that question of how do you round the corner?
Right.
If you don't let the dantian come forward a little bit there, you're going to just go boom. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yep. It's,
Very
I got
subtle. It doesn't have, you're not making a big movement.
right. Can you do it from right there, from that position, so I can see it from that angle? Can you do it one more time, please?
No.
Okay, then two more.
Yes, I can. Okay. So at this point, you're 60% on the right foot.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go forward a little. And then you're rotating and shifting back. And then you're continuing to rotate and left, but shifting back again onto the right foot.
Okay.
Go so far down.
Yeah, I got it that time.
Yeah. And make sure that you drop the elbow there. Our tendency sometimes is to let the elbow push out, but it needs to stay down.
Right.
And the hands, as they're going up, you're at this point more or less on the side channels, and as you go up, they're spreading and extending and twisting out.
Is this the one where they end up facing each other though? The hands?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I'm doing you
Okay,
on
good.
style.
All right,
Sorry.
good, thank you.
Sometimes when I'm talking, I drift into
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
I just want to make
they're
sure.
going out here. It's the same same effect, but here you're right. It's palm to palm. And you are doing exactly that. You are connecting those palms energetically.
Right.
You can feel the Laogong points connect when you're in
Yeah.
the right position.
Yeah, I've always had that awareness very strongly, so that's why I wanted to make sure I was doing it right.
No, you were doing perfectly fine.
All right.
Yeah, my feet were all wrong.
Oh, good heavens. Good.
Yeah, the sequence and heel and toe, everything was off, but I got it now, I think. Yeah. So it's just, it's a lot more simple than I had been making it. The first is the pivot on the right heel and then the left toe.
Yep. So before we go on, what I'd like you to do is go back to that single whip after wave hands and just do this little section.
Go ahead, Pat. Yeah.
Do it several times so that you begin to hopefully cement whatever changes you recognize you need to do.
So essentially 100% for the.
It isn't, well, you don't even need to go to 100% because all you're doing there at that point is opening the quad.
Okay.
You're just getting that, and then you can go on the rest of the Zoom. Why did you go back?
That's what I need to correct that whole thing, which is, that's what I said, I have been going back and around to make a corner.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
okay. I've been doing it exactly the opposite.
Yeah. And
I've
it's,
been pivoting on my right toe and turning on my left heel.
yeah. Remember that it's rising too.
Hmm.
The opening part is not the first part. First part is just rotating and then you're going up.
Yeah.
Up, dude. Sorry. You're adding something
My
extra.
body still wants to do that.
Yeah, you're adding something extra. So it's so here there's a shift in beginning to round, and you turn and touch. And here the hands have twisted in towards the center, but they're on the side channels at this point. And then as you continue, you don't shift, you just continue to rotate. That again changes the way the hands are turning so that as you rotate forward, they go out. So the problem
needs to
there
be up
is,
here, yeah.
is you have to really get that right foot to turn in.
Yeah.
So you can,
Yeah, it needs to be, the spacing needs to be
yeah,
bigger because
yeah. Good.
okay. I have it in my head, so
Well, anyway, keep going. I'll leave you alone. Remember the palms face each other. So the the um the spreading of your opponent's arms is done with the back of the arms in this style. In the yang, it's done with the palm. Same thing, you're just holding them apart so you can kick him. Uh-huh. That looks pretty good, Jeff. Do you have any questions in there?
No, it was good to clarify that slight shift forward on the rotation, though. That was helpful
Yeah.
as far as adding the rounding in there. Like I said, I some postures I just seem to never really think about the rounding. So it's good to start doing that.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think I'm okay up to here.
okay.
I am gonna have to go. I've got to take Kate to work. She's got to be there by 11:30.
Oh, okay.
So I do have to cut it a few minutes short for myself. We're on normally next week.
Yes,
Okay,
as far as I know.
very good. Well, if got any changes, I hope Jane's okay, but if got any changes, it's totally understandable. Send her my best. I hope she goes through it well.
I will, I think it'll be fine. This doctor's done it a lot and so
Okay, well, thank you. Take care, Bill.
Yep,
We'll
you
see
too,
next
Jeff.
week.
Have a good week.
You too. Bye-bye.
bye.
Yeah, well, that that matches with what I was feeling. Once we got to after wave hands, it was like, okay.
What do I
could
do
get
now?
through it, but I didn't feel
Yeah,
that, it was secure and in just the kind of thing we were talking about.
yeah.
Obviously there was my step was to the side, and it needs to go front
Inside.
more,
Yeah. Yeah, because
otherwise the feet are too close,
yeah. So it's um it is just um there when you go you're gonna draw it in and touch.
Yeah.
And then you want to go turn further and step.
Yeah.
And then go into
Mine were parallel.
to now. Yeah, yeah. So it's a
And that probably led me to moving my left foot first to get it out of the way.
yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. That's enough?
Yeah, that, and the reminders in the 8 gates,
Okay. Very well. Well, we can stop it there. Thank you.
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
No, I didn't want to wear my loafers in the snow
I can't imagine why.
because they have no tread.